Peace and blessings, beloveds. Welcome to Ascension Live. I am Astarius Miraculii, loving you so much. Today's subject is full moon, Halloween, and Mercury retrograde. We have all of those energies working. Mercury went retrograde on the 13th of October, and it's still retrograding up until the 3rd of November, so we're still in that frequency. Tomorrow is Halloween, All Saints' Day, All Hallows' Eve, and it is also a full moon as well as a blue moon, in that there's 2 full moons in this particular month, which becomes then a multiplication of emotionality. The full moon is the dance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine, though sometimes the masculine and the feminine can be a bit renegade, and at war with each other. So the overall essence is always divine masculine and divine feminine, divine masculine being related to the sun, and the divine feminine being related to the moon. And so a full moon is always a rendezvous with God. God experiencing a rendezvous with God's own self through the dance of the masculine sun and the feminine moon. However, when the moon is full, then it is the divine feminine that is the CEO of the moment. The divine feminine is the chief executive officer of the moment. The CEO of the moment. So what I'd like for you to do, I'm going to bring in some Didgeridoo, and this time I'm going to play along with one of my tracks, which is Tribal Ascension Alchemy. So I'm going to, just create some co-creation between an album that I've already done, a song that I've already done, as well as playing along with it in the moment. So while I'm playing the Didgeridoo, I'd like for you to, one, be aware that the veils are thin, because that's one of the predominant things about Halloween, is that the veils between the dimensions become very thin, and there is an easy access to beingness that is on the other side. Sometimes Halloween was said to be a celebration of the dead, which we can say is a celebration of our ancestors who have laid down the body. And then also Mercury, that went retrograde on the 13th of October, also represents a thinning of the veils. And there is a commonality between the 13th of October and the 31st of October, in that they both carry the resonance of the 4, and 31 is 13 backwards, 13 is 31 backwards. And they both, that is, carry the frequency of the number 9 numerologically. We're going to talk a lot about what all of that means, but meanwhile, let's set some intention together. Feel the connection that you have to your ancestors, to the ascended masters, to the higher dimensional beings that work on your behalf. Recognize the fact that you're not alone. We are doing something collectively here, and we are collectively extremely powerful. So as I play the Didgeridoo along with my track, Tribal Ascension Alchemy, be about setting the intentions that you want. The access to tremendously powerful energies is there for us. We can harness this energy, or we can allow this energy to behave as a renegade against us. But it would be more empowering to harness it. So let's mutually set this intention for the betterment and the healing of our world and the up-leveling of our own individual beingness. So here we go. Lord has had mercy. Oh, God is kind, and God is too. God is especially. So thank you all for being present with me in this sacred moment where we work with the frequencies of this full moon energy. We are the microcosmic container of the macrocosmic all that is. Everything that exists within the central core of being, within the central core of the universe, also exists within each of us. And so we own that reality of the divine that lives within the central core of our being. We own that reality of being the I and the I am of the storm, which is impenetrable by any negative energy. And so a full moon represents an opposition between the sun and the moon. And in astrology, the aspect of the opposition always relates to relationship. Two forces coming together to reveal one another to each other. Sometimes we witness conflict that happens between the feminine and the masculine. But when the conflict happens, it is one waging war within one's own self. You look at my being and you see on a physical level the resonance of male. You can see the masculinity in this body. And the female aspect of who I am is invisible to physical sight, and therefore that is my access code to everything invisible, all of the great mysteries. When the moon is full, because of the amplification of the power of the moon, because the sun in oppositional alignment with the moon is feeding enormous force into the moon, and the moon represents the subconscious domain of our being, and the moon resonance within us represents the focal point that we hold in connection with the Akashic records, the book of God's remembrance, wherein lies the knowledge of everything that is, was, or ever will be. And so our relationship with the moon is our access to the Akashic records, being able to tap into any and all information that exists from beginningless beginning to endless end that has association with any timeline and any dimension. It is through the lunar resonance of our being that we have access to that. Moon is the microcosmic container of the macrocosmic all that is. So in this full moon, the moon is positioned in the sign of Taurus, and the sun is in the opposite sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio is the sign in which the planet Mercury went retrograde. So all of these energies are playing off of each other and feeding into each other. The Mercury retrograde energy has to do with our capacity for up-leveling the inner communication that is associated with the intuition and associated with the higher mind. When Mercury went retrograde, the planet Uranus was in an oppositional alignment with Mercury, and Uranus represents the higher mind, higher consciousness, sometimes referred to as the higher octave of Mercury. And so through this Mercury retrograde, we have a greater access to the higher mind, the cosmic consciousness that exists within the up-leveled domain of our being. We want to utilize that. So well, let me just look at the chart here for a minute as well. So here, the moon is exactly full. Tomorrow, Eastern time, it's full at 7, 8, 9, 10, 10:49 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Time. And, of course, you can calculate as to how that relates to other time zones across the world. So at the point of the exact full moon, the moon is 8 degrees of Taurus, the sun is 8 degrees of Scorpio, and Uranus is also 8 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus is exactly conjuncting the moon. So that means that this full moon is electrified. It already had an amplification of power based upon being a blue moon, meaning that it is 2 full moons that has occurred within this month, offering a lot of additional amplification to the power of the moon. Uranus conjuncting the moon is bringing in a frequency of the electrifying of our emotional nature. Things can happen very abrupt at the emotional level, but it can also be very lightning fast insights. Some of the higher resonance of the planet Uranus is genius. So we can tap into our ingeniousness through this full moon, but we have to choose it. It doesn't just haphazardly happen. We can't arrive where we're not heading. And where we're heading is based upon where we're looking. And where we're looking is the resonance of what we're intending. So where are you looking, beloved? What are you intending? This full moon represents very intense communicational frequencies. If we're not careful, we could get caught up in argumentativeness and mental emotional confrontations. But if we allow ourselves to be aligned with the mind of the divine, then we're able to direct these energies in a good way and have them to work on our behalf. So when we look at what the planet Uranus is doing, we always want to look at the polarity. What the polarity of Uranus is the sun, because Uranus rules Aquarius, and Aquarius is the opposite of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. So the polarity of Uranus is the sun. So that gives us the access to go into that core identity. Wherever the sun is at is the representation of the focalization of our godhood. Sun is God. And so there can be an electrifying of the essence of that God divinity that exists within us. Uranus creates lightning fast awakenings, so there can be very accelerated awakening of consciousness. But again, we must choose it. There is a heightened sensitivity with the moon full in Taurus and the sun being in Scorpio. Taurus is fixed earth and Scorpio is fixed water. And the water resonance gives us that capacity to go into the inner depths, to perceive inwardly. Same as Mercury retrograde is saying, turn within, which is why all of the logistical things seem to go nuts externally. The outer mind is slowing down. So then there is an acceleration of the inner mind. That's why intuition is more up-leveled and accelerated during the Mercury retrograde cycle. Intuition is also up-leveled and accelerated during the full moon, because the moon is the domain of the intuition. So we have a lot that is available to us. Moon is past, sun is future. So it becomes a question of what will we choose to be a reflection of. Moon is reflection. So when we're in the resonance of a full moon, our capacity to reflect is stronger than ever. Are we going to reflect the negative expressions of the past? There's a lot of negativity going on in the world. There's a lot of maliciousness going on, a lot of legalized gangsterism and bureaucratic bullying. Do we want to be a reflection of that? All of the governmental forces in the world are not operating from a benevolent place. Some from quite a maliciousness. We, as archetypes of the moon, what do we want to reflect? Do we want to be a reflection of world chaos? If we're complaining about what's going on, if we're railing against it, if we're caught up in our anger and caught up in our counterattack, we are in actuality breathing even more life force into that world chaos. We're becoming a greater reflection of the world chaos. You cannot transcend it by fighting against it. The way in which we are meant to wage sacred battle with it is by seeing a vision of redemption, by being a lunar moon reflection of the future. We want to pre-memorate the future. And yes, divine love is what I'm choosing. Yes, I affirm that, beloved. Divine love is what we all are meant to be choosing. And to choose divine love in the face of what's going on in the world, because the world, in the outer human sense, is not reflecting divine love. So we must reach further. We must reach into the future. We must pre-memorate the redemption of our world that exists within the future. It is a reality that is alive and well in the domain of the future. And every time is now. Every space is here, and everyone is us. So let's pre-memorate. Right now, beloved, let's pre-memorate the reality in the future where all of this world chaos has melted away. Let us be in the awareness that we are joined in consciousness with multitudinous thoughts that are of this intention of world redemption. We want to pre-memorate those realities of redemption and summon them into the now memoration of this moment, and to superimpose this benevolent healing vibration over our world right now. We are so powerful when we join in consciousness and bring all of these energies together. So I want to work with some of the selections from my album Ascension Rap. I'm going to beam some energy while I play a couple of tracks, and in some instances I will chant along with, and I would like for you to join me in this reality as I get my ducks in a row. I have my technology trying to misbehave over here. Well, Mercury's retrograde, and that kind of happens sometimes. But we're going to get these ducks in a row. So let me just scroll to what it is that I'm looking for. And I appreciate you holding space for me. I appreciate love you. So here we go with Ascension Rap. Oh, that's not the one though. That's the wrong one. Here we go. mountain heights of heaven's land. I now invoke the master plan. Is my divine birthright. I'm giving back my cosmic sight. At dawn of life I was so high. With the angels I did fly, and now ascend to higher plane. Ancient times come again. In the name of holy peace, that all my blessings now increase. My great abundance now comply with power of my single eye. Bless the darkness, make it right, reverse the tide. Free the light, make my power ever pure. Else let the power not endure. I love and lift my fellow man and understand the master plan. Me, there's simply nothing new except that which I always knew. First I spin a speed of light. Within, without, come now my sight. Mighty spirit Elohim, make truth of this my cosmic dream. Yes, my eye is really single with light. My body does now tingle. My soul is so brand new. I now know all that I once knew. We are so strong. We are champions of life. We hold space for divine redemption. We bless our world and we bless the universe, and our world and the universe blesses us back. The whole universe has our back. God, Goddess Absolute, every angel and ascended master has our back. We are empowered by everything. I allow and receive and align with ascension ad infinitum. I am therefore ascended. You allow and align with ascension ad infinitum. You are therefore ascended. Amazing creator. I'm amazing creator. I'm amazing creator, successful and ascended. Amazing creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am. Ascended I am. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creation. Successful and ascended, amazing creator. Successful and ascended, I am that I am. This ascended I am. Amazing creator. Successful and ascended, you're amazing creator. Successful and ascended, you're amazing creator. Successful and ascended, you are that you are. You are ascended, you are amazing creator. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creation. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creator. Successful and ascended, I am that I am. This ascended I am. shonen, hon jaze shonen daikomio, hon jaze shonen, hon jaze shonen daikomio, hon jaze shonen, hon jaze shonen daikomio, shonen, hon jaze shonen daikomio, hon jaze 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 shonen, hon jaze shonen daikomio, recognize the heavens land I now invoke the master plan. Is my divine birth, but I'm giving back my cosmic sight. Dawn of life, I was so high with the angels I did fly. Now I was in the higher plane. Ancient times now come again. In the name of holy peace, all my blessings now increase. My great abundance now comply. Power of my single eye. Bless darkness, make it bright. Reverse the tide and free the light. Make my power ever pure. Else let the power not endure. Love and lift my fellow man. Understand the master plan. Me, there's simply nothing new except that which my soul once knew. Bridge across the seas of time, your passage to this soul of mine. Let me taste the ecstasy I knew before human misery. Mighty essence, then I am. I wrote the pages of the master plan. Dancing on a sea of being, light and love. We're all decreeing, calling to fallen self. Time to regain heaven's wealth. Cross the bridge of what's to be. Where from your nightmare we are free. Hear the angels calling me, saying, wake up, God, you're really free. Hear the angels calling me, saying, wake up, Goddess, you're really free. Wipe the nightmare from your eyes, spread your wings and watch death die. Breeze across seas of time, shackles of my soul unbind. Wake now from illusions dread, I'm safe at home in heaven's bed. Let it be God, capstone of my soul, unfailing spirit, fulfill my goals. Let there be power in the word of my mouth, I conquer all fear and doubt. Let it be wisdom, let it be to my knowledge, let it be a blaze within my heart. Oh, because in the game of life, that it wisdom may finish what knowledge is start. To be love in the work of my hand, my life is a blessing unto God and man. Let it be peace, let it be in my mind, oh, so on as divinity around me shine. Let it be all in the bubbling of soul, destroyers that are gonna make me whole. Let it be abundant raining down upon me, my life be enriched with prosperity. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creation. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creator. Successful and ascended, I am that I am, this ascended I am. Amazing creator, successful and ascended, I'm amazing creation. Successful and ascended, I'm amazing creator. Successful and ascended, I am that I am, this ascended I am. Creator, successful and ascended. Creation, successful and ascended. Creator, successful and ascended. I am that I am, this ascended I am. And that was a couple of selections. That was Ascension Rap Powwow and Amazing Creator from my album Ascension Rap. Be sure and go over to my website and experience some of my music. I have 22 music albums over there for you. And Ascension Rap is one of my favorites. Of course, they're all my favorites because they're all my children. So we are in this resonance of harnessing the vibrations of the full moon in a good way. Whatever the sun is, the moon reflects. The sun is that which is in alignment with cosmic consciousness. And cosmic consciousness encompasses the Akashic records, the book of God's remembrance, everything that is, was, or ever will be. And so we want to allow ourselves to be the reflection of the realities that we want. Whatever it is that we want, we don't have to coerce it into being, but just allow ourselves to be the reflection of it, because it exists, whatever it is, as a cellular counterpart within the inner sanctum of our being. Within our being, we have a cell for every man, woman, and child, for every angel and ascended master, for every ocean, mountain, and stream, for every mineral, plant, and animal, for every elemental star and galaxy, For we are the master cell, who is the microcosmic container of the macrocosmic all that is. And so tomorrow, Halloween, All Saints' Day, or All Hallows' Eve, is an energy that makes the trick or the treat available. Do you choose the trick or the treat of life? There's a great big trick going on in the world right now, but I recommend that we don't choose that, but rather choose the treat that represents the benevolence of God within us, that exists within that central core place of our being, that I and I am of the storm, that stillness in slow motion, that vortex of creation, that heaven within. When we are in alignment with this central core place of being, we are able to choose, the infinite treat of life, the blessedness of life, the benevolence of life. Let us choose the treat rather than the trick. With the moon being full in Taurus while being conjuncted by the planet Uranus, this is revolution. A revolution and an opportunity to break from the status quo. It can also be the electrifying of our emotional body, our emotional being. In the highest resonance of Uranus, it represents freedom. So we can experience freedom, Uranus, from negative ancestral family ties. Moon. The moon carries our ancestry, carries the resonance of our family, and some of the things that exist within our ancestry represents things that are weighty. There's a lot of exaltation about our ancestors and our ancestry, but there is also heaviness. Sometimes we have ancestral wounds, and those ancestral wounds exist within the emotionality of our being, which is associated with the moon. Uranus conjuncting the full moon is an indication that we can experience freedom and liberation from wounded family and ancestral ties. So meditate on what it is that you might want to heal regarding the negative aspect of your ancestry, of your family connections. The moon is that which is innermost. Uranus is freedom. And so we can experience the innermost freedom of selfhood and the lighting of the unconscious. Uranus brings the light of consciousness to the hidden places which are represented by the moon, shedding light on the hidden nectar that exists deep down in the core of our being. This is available now to begin to come to the surface. As I said, the commonality of the 13th of October, where Mercury went retrograde, and the full moon, as well as Halloween, which happens on the 31st, is that 31st and 13 are the frequency of 4. 31st is 13 backward, 13 is 31st backward, and numerologically they both carry the resonance of 9. 9 is the most matured number, and all numbers are combinations of 1 through 9. So in this resonance, we have the opportunity to come into expression of the elder within us. The elder self is more available in this now moment than ever. Let us be of the intention to allow the inner elder to have its way with us. And the greatest elder that exists within the core of our being is the little elder, which is the inner child. The inner child is absolutely the access code to our godhood, which is why the Holy Scripture says, unless you become as a little child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. Those are the credentials that get us back into the ascended absoluteness from which we have descended into this physicality. The elder self. It is a powerful time where we can access connection to all of the indigenous elders throughout the planet. 9 is a powerful access code for that. 9 is also a number that has to do with mass endings. So this is a time where we may be experiencing a people sweep, like a big giant broom sweeping through our life and sweeping out many people that have been a part of our life, maybe for a long time. But the people that must leave the inner circle of our life are people that are not resonant with our highest resonance of integrity, who are no longer a good fit for us. So don't fight against the experience of a people sweep if that's what's going on in your life. 9 is also the frequency like being in the senior year of school where you're getting ready to graduate. Seniors are looked up to. Very honorable place to be. And seniors in school work harder than anyone because every prerequisite must be handled before graduation can happen. So we are in this elevated place, ready to graduate into a new expression of being. And our accountability is very, very high. Let us tap into the elder within. And let us allow this full moon to be a quickening of the godhood that exists within us. Uranus being ruler of Aquarius, and Aquarius is tied into universal love, Aquarius and the planet Uranus. And so this is also a time where we can up-level our relationship with an expression of universal love. This is some of the higher resonances available through the full moon, with Uranus conjuncting the full moon. It's a time for the up-leveled experience of brotherhood and sisterhood. Uranus in its higher resonance also represents divine brotherhood and divine sisterhood. Uranus also represents the Aquarian age as well as the Golden Age. So this is a time where we can definitely experience an up-leveling of our vision of the Golden Age culture that our world is moving toward. The planet Chiron, which is the planet of the wounded healer, is in an oppositional alignment with the planet Venus right now. And so there is this opportunity to experience a head-on convergence in relationship. Now, it could also be, if you allow it to, a head-on collision in relationship, where there's great warring and contention at the level of relationship. But if we're coming from that higher place, we want it to be a head-on convergence, and allowing the frequency of Chiron, the planet of the wounded healer, to offer the frequency of healing to all of our relations and all of the dynamics of our interconnection with our beloveds. Let it be a head-on convergence and not a head-on collision. What do you think of your relationships? When there's adversity in your relationships, do you define that beloved according to that adversity that you're experiencing? Or are you in the awareness that in truth, you're having a rendezvous with God through the individualization of a beloved? A rendezvous with God through that individual beloved. No matter who we're in relationship with, we're always having a rendezvous with God. Relationship created from above, a vessel for the journey of love. Sailing upon the human seas, mirrors of self that set us free. Our human goal above any other, to reveal one another to each other. When I relate to you, I learn and I see, and yet my greatest learning is always about me. Relationship must be the key to my self-mastery. The past is gone, the future takes too long. Time to sing a current song. Only now can take me home. Only now can show me how my life, oh heaven, re-endow. Emotional pain from long ago within my heart rips to and fro. How many others will I blame for the horrors of my pain? Resentment pushed me from the tower. Forgiveness is my get-up power. Forgive the past, trust the present, make the future sweet and pleasant. It is wise not to despise it. Use the dung to fertilize it, for life's greatest connoisseur gets the best crops from the best manure. I say the heathen spoil the seed, cause my little heart to bleed, yet if I had not the need, they couldn't do these awful deeds. If in fact I need the lesson, the pain they cause becomes my blessing. The real truth is they work for me, so what shall be their salary to ensure that it serves me best? I'll pay them the wages of forgiveness. Relationship, the vessel. So thank you, beloveds, for being with me. Thank you for knowing the power that you are, loving on yourself, knowing that you make a monumental impact upon the expansion of life. Thank you for knowing that you are the microcosmic container of the macrocosmic all that is. That God Goddess, absolute, lives within the central core of your being. Thank you for coming home to your absoluteness. And thank you for remembering to put out your exalted vibration for those of us who might be of a lesser stage of evolvement that needs to receive that uplifting vibration. Thank you for knowing that you're meant to be the champion of all of life and the whole universe. Thank you for visiting my website, Astarius.com. I have a number of music albums, a couple of books available. All of the things you hear me reciting are excerpts from my book, Miraculii, Song of Ascension. I also have Feast of the Zodiac, Wisdom of Astrology, where I've written a poem on all of the astrological signs. I am available for intuitive astrological readings as well as sound healing transmissions with Didgeridoo and vocal harmonics. I practice and teach Reiki. I'm located in the Red Rocks of Sedona. So I would love to serve you on an individualized level if that pleases your heart. If you love this video, share it forward. Thank you for sharing your comments. And thank all of you who've been sending donations. I do graciously receive donations via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, as well as a donation button on my website. You can find more than 800 videos across the platforms of Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm so blessed. I'm more than 3 million views across those platforms, and I feel so honored to be touching so many beloveds. I love you so much. I champion you, and we all are making our way back home. But we're going to be where we're going before we get there, because every time is now. I love you so much.